basket as Celeste Taylor sends it to McMahon for another triple back-to-back.
And the key is generating catch and shoots. It doesn't matter what level of basketball you're at. And, you know, obviously Celeste doing a great job penetrating the defense, being unselfish and giving it up.
Ohio State with the 11-6 lead. You can see their patent press. That one sent up the floor for Taylor Padilla.
And that's a good sign for USC. I don't know if they had that last year. Their defense, strong, 55 points per game. They gave up against opponents, but offensively, they struggled to score.
Theory couldn't respond with the three. Nikolashikova just off the back iron. But you mentioned that USC, both teams actually really known for their defensive prowess and how they dictate on that end of the floor, had to make some adjustments offensively of how they were going to get better.
100%. You know, obviously dictating a little different. I think Ohio State wants to speed you up and have more possessions, whereas USC wants to slow you down and make it a half-court game.
So we are at our first break of the game, and it's been raining threes here at T-Mobile Arena. Padilla getting in on the action as well, letting it fly. NCAA kickoff is here. Season here at T-Mobile Arena, and before we get things going, let's send it courtside with Taylor Rooks.
Thanks, Angel. You know, this team has a number of options at the 5, as you see Ty Parks is now in. Coach McGuff said they brought Ty in because they needed a more physical presence around the baskets, especially with defensive rebounding. Said Rebecca plays on the perimeter and she can shoot it, and we play through her a lot, but they weren't great around the rim last season, and Ty's here to shore that up, ladies.
It's the efficiency of it all, and just knowing coming into the season what role you're going to have to play early, understanding what she can do and contribute.
100%. And I think that, you know, the more ways you can play, the better you're prepared to play different styles. And adding a shooter and a stretch four is big, but having somebody down low that can battle is huge in the Big Ten.
5 on the shot clock. Marshall takes it off the glass, a bit strong, but there's a foul assessed. It will go to Ohio State.
See Harris getting in the action down there, battling, getting an extra possession for her team.
So Ohio State with the ball. 7 of their last 10 shots have been from outside. This one, just a step inside the three-point line, off the mark.
And I know Coach McGuff's like, listen, we have you in there to be down low.
Is that what your coaches used to say to you too?
All the time. I'm like, listen, Coach, there's versatility. We're good.
See a litany of players trying to guard Juju Watkins, and on the floor, another turnover, the 3rd for USC. Sheldon streaking to the rim, that's blocked by Juju Watkins.
You see that length right there. You know, the thing about Juju, everybody talks offensively, but she has the potential to be really good defensively as well.
That she's been challenged by the coaches on this year's staff, saying they want her to be a balanced player. So Marshall having a tough stretch at the rim.
And then right here, Angel, you see Ohio State in transition, remaining big, level. She's just long and, you know, surprisingly like wiry. You don't think that she's as long as she is, and I think she's able to make defensive plays for USC, whether it's by the basket or out on the perimeter as well.
Yep, standing at 6'2". Taking a seat on the bench right now for USC as another foul is assessed against the Trojans.
You see Coach McGuff right there, you know, just talking to him in practice yesterday about Celeste Taylor and coming over from Duke transfer, coming in, and, you know, yes, she is the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, all defensive team, all ACC second team. But she has offense as well, and I think it's going to be good to see more possessions, more open floor, for her to be able to showcase that in this Buckeyes offense.
I think that's something that she is really excited about, that as they send the ball up the floor. Marshall waiting for it, and it rims off.
And Marshall's getting good looks, and a number of those have rimmed out. So if you're USC, you're happy in the way you're handling the press.
And that's that offense you were talking about, Candace, as Celeste Taylor is now entering the chat.
You see right here the Buckeyes go into a 1-2-2. 1-2-1-1. Full court press.
So that's another look for Marshall, though. That's back-to-back. This one, she converts for the 2, but Rhea Marshall on the other end, they're going to have to adjust to that.
Definitely going to have to get back. I think as a big in the back, you never want to let the ball get behind you, no matter how aggressive you are in the press.
So McMahon, another 3 from outside. This one a little bit short as Caitlin Davis, the transfer from Columbia.
And Angel, that's the new age basketball. It was a 3-on-1, and USC runs to the 3-point line. And right here, you see Sheldon passing. Celeste knocks down the 3. That's something that if you're a guard and you're aspiring to play at the next level, you got to be able to knock down the 3.
You talked about it.
She does just that.
Yeah, Celeste Taylor, known for her defense coming from Duke, reigning ACC Defensive Player of the Year, also almost had the nod for a finalist for the Naismith Women's Defensive Player of the Year as well. And a foul underneath on Marshall will send her to the free throw line. But going back to Celeste Taylor, she is in the 1,000-point club, so she can definitely put the ball in the hoop. So to see the balance in this new system will be interesting.
Well, Coach McGough talks about how he wants to generate more and more possessions. And, you know, coming into this game, I think that it favors Ohio State if the game is 75, 80 points per game. I think they win that. USC, you know, although they're going to have more possessions and more offensive threats than last year, I think this benefits them if this game is in the low 70s.
So Rhea Marshall shot 62% from the free throw line last season. She mentioned that was something that she wanted to improve on. Now she has another one on the way, and that one...
You know, these games, you think about what the NBA in-season tournament is doing. I mean, sports are here to stay in Vegas for sure.
And so USC takes the lead for the first time. That's what brought the timeout. And when you're looking at what they've been able to do in the last 2 seasons, Lindsey Gottlieb in her 3rd season, make it back to the NCAA tournament. She talked about being upset in the first round in the Pac-12 tournament. They wanted a different type of look. That bounce in the first round of the NCAA tournament as well. And that was something Rhea Marshall talked to you about as well, saying that taste is something that fuels her in the season.
And all offseason, especially when you lose going into next year, you're thinking about it. And you have that chip on your shoulder. And you want to win. And I think everybody wants to win today. But Rome is not built in a day. It's built over a season. And I think teams have to understand that you're not the best or the worst based off the first day.
Well, that's very interesting because Cody McMahon coming into her sophomore season, when we asked her what does she want this look to be for her team, she said, I don't want it to look like this is our first game. We should be in a flow and in a rhythm because they have a lot of pieces coming back. 5 on the shot clock, top of the key, 3 off the mark.
But kudos to all 4 of these teams that decided to take the challenge in and play against great competition for the first game.
So McMahon, there was a late call, picks up another foul. We'll go back to the Trojans.
And Forbes taking it on the chin. You know, Coach McGough talked about in the offseason, talking to McMahon about being under control. And, you know, two charges early here. So she'll definitely have to adjust to avoid picking up the 3rd.
Remains in the game. Padilla sends it in on the other side. No connection for Caitlin Davis. McMahon, as you mentioned, just her control going on the inside, attracted a lot of bodies. Juju, with the decision to make, pulls up.
And that's where she excels, in that secondary and that transition. She's so smooth, she's silky, she's got the pull-up mid-range. And that's where, as a young player, you have to understand that your defense translates to offense and getting easy buckets.
Sheldon can't connect, and USC, here they come. Ohio State has 6 turnovers.
But young players, first of all, that was a move.
That was a nice move.
That was a move. Second of all, young players, you watch how she's under control when she passes half court. I mean, Hezzy, goodness, Angel.
I know, it was pretty nice. We might have to use that for a rollout. Celeste didn't like her look on the inside, finds McMahon. Working baseline, Taylor as that one's deflected as well.
And you know we have to run it back right here. Smooth, gets to her Hezzy with the crossover finish. A little finger roll. I think that was a little finger roll at the end. But under control. You don't have to be the fastest. You have to change speeds, and you have to be under control. And that's something that it takes a long time for players to master, and she's so young doing this.
And here Juju Watkins comes, the first Gatorade National Girls Basketball Player of the Year to come to USC since Lisa Leslie at the rim, as Davis turns the ball over for the women of Troy.
I don't know about that charge. I want to see her off arm. I want to see Davis's off arm on that one.
Rhea Marshall able to getting to the passing lane once again. Another layup for Rhea Marshall.
And Rhea Marshall says, come on, that's back-to-back steals in transition, and 2 transition buckets for her. 3, can we get 3, Angel?
I'm sorry, is she a guard that we're seeing right now? Rhea Marshall.
We call this point forwards. That's what we call it. We call it right there.
It will stay with USC. Rhea Marshall has been all over the floor.
And Ohio State not taking care of the ball on the perimeter. Have to be careful with chest passes to the top of the key. Rhea Marshall's all on that. Hey, all she had to do was turn it over. I think she was high enough.
I think this place would have went absolutely crazy. Juju, another Hezzy at the top of the key. Found a way to get it off the glass. It's the poise we've been talking about, Candace.
And you talk about the body control, the poise. I mean, Juju Watkins.
So a timeout was called for Ohio State because they needed to find an answer for the women of Troy, and Juju Watkins, who has been all over the floor. They have the 10-point lead. Juju Watkins actually went to the bench for a short spell after 3 turnovers, and it's been a different look since she's returned to the floor.
Harris settles the Buckeyes in with a 3, but you're right. Juju went to the bench, gathered herself, came back in. And honestly, a lot of that was sparked by Marshall and Bigby coming in, making plays on the defensive end. But if you're Ohio State right now, and you're down 7, Sheldon's got to get something going to the rim.
Ricky Harris was able to knock down the triple. Sheldon.
And again, a quick shot early in the shot clock. I think Ohio State can get a better look than that.
Celeste Taylor with the assignment of Juju Watkins. Held up, looking for some help. Mackenzie Forbes sends it to Taylor Bigby. You bet! Taylor Bigby for another triple today.
And Bigby now 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, knocking it down, catch it, shoot. Listen, it's being ready when your name is called. Bigby came in and changed the game.
Top 30 recruit out of high school, 3-time Nevada State champ. A couple of her friends and family in the building to witness what she's been able to do so far for the women of Troy.
And Ohio State not getting good looks on the offensive end, not hitting the paint, not getting catch and shoot threes, which they were successful with it in the first quarter. More off the dribble threes.
Marshall demanding it on the inside. Juju Watkins somehow, some way, found a lane and finished on the left.
And if you're Marshall, you wanted that, but then you're like, hey, nice move, Juju.
35-23 lead for the women of Troy. This is their biggest lead of the ball game. Celeste Taylor.
And again, another mid-range off the dribble shot.
Juju at the rim gets fouled by Taylor. That will be her first personal foul. So you can see the frustration, but Juju just finding a way to create offense.
And the change of speed, finishes with the right, with the left. Between defenders, it hasn't mattered here in this second quarter. You look, Juju 5 of 7. Started off 3 early turnovers, went to the bench, settled down, and came back.
How about USC? Their home opener at Galen Center is the 40th anniversary of USC's back-to-back championship team. So you're thinking about Mount Rushmore, Cynthia Cooper, Lisa Leslie. The list goes on and on with Tina Thompson, Cheryl Miller.
And I love it that she said yes, staying home, knowing the pressure and bringing and ushering in a new vibe at USC. I mean, we think of the Lady of Troy. Goodness, Cheryl Miller raised 2 back-to-back banners in what USC hoops used to be.
A much-needed bucket for Ohio State. Taylor Thury in position for that layup. And yes, you will see the press every make from Ohio State. This is something that they train for. A lot of contact. Fumbled the ball, and that one will be good. So Caitlin Davis found herself free under the basket.
That's an interesting no call. I guess you called it bobbling, but listen, USC Forbes will take it.
Sheldon attracts 3 bodies, sends it out. Taylor. Juju Watkins.
And here's where she's dangerous. Here's where she's dangerous. It's right past the second hash, right in front of the three-point line. The hezzy, because you have to respect her jump shot. The burst of speed, because she can get to her mid-range, and the ability to get to the basket with her finishing has been extremely impressive. And if you're Ohio State and you're Coach McGuff, I think you're searching for someone that is going to step up and take the challenge of guarding her. But it's got to be team. It's got to be almost like that build a wall to stop her in that secondary.
Taylor Thury picked up her 3rd personal, will be sent to the bench. And you talked about it being a team effort. We were able to talk to Kevin McGuff yesterday at practice, and he said defensively this is something that we have to get better at. I know that everyone looks at us for what we do defensively from last season, but he said there's a lot of improvement that we have to make in this season.
There's a lot of improvement. I mean, we know that they press, and they press very well, but in the half court. And I think a lot of those problems Ohio State addressed in the transfer portal.
And it's just been a cold second quarter for the Buckeyes as...
Well, what has happened in the second quarter has been Ohio State had success early from beyond the arc, but the type of threes they were generating were catch and shoot. Now it's off the dribble.
USC has outscored the Buckeyes 26-7 in this frame. That is a turnover for the women of Troy. That's their 8th, 9 for the Buckeyes.
And the thing is, because the Buckeyes have struggled on the offensive end, they aren't able to set their press, which is what they rely heavily on to generate offense.
So Celeste takes the bump. She'll get 2 free throws. Taylor Bigby picks up the foul there.
And I like that for Taylor. I like that. Getting Taylor going downhill, get her to the free throw line so she can see the ball going in. Started off, 1 of 8. Hasn't finished at the rim. Her only field goal is a 3-point shot, catch and shoot. So I'd like to see her get going downhill along with Sheldon, who had early success.
Celeste Taylor started off her season at Texas, went on to go to Duke, and now finding a home as the grad year with Ohio State.
You see Coach Gottlieb making sure that everybody understands that Ohio State is going to press, making sure everybody's in position.
And for good reason, because they get the steal there, close to a steal, but USC able to escape that trap. With Malia Samuels feeling the pressure from Collins. And that's what's frustrating. You feel that intensity on the defensive end, and it's coughed up by a foul.
Ohio State's 4th team foul.
So Celeste Taylor now has 2. It's very interesting how you come in a season it's completely different from years past. Offense was something they needed, and we've seen a lot of it in the second quarter.
Well, you see USC averaged 55 points per game last year, and they're already at 44, so I would say they've made a big step offensively.
A foul at the rim as Ebony Walker took the bump.
And right here, you see USC has the star power of Juju, and she's going to garner a lot of attention. But guess what? If you're around her, you got to be ready to catch and shoot and knock down threes. And you see Forbes does just that.
I thought the conversation with Rhea Marshall, when she talked about the offense and how things are clicking on that side, she said, well, both of our exhibition games, we scored more in the first half than we scored in the entire game. I'm excited about that.
And it's got to be fun because, you know, as much as coaches talk about defense, you're not going to pitch a shutout. And so offensively, it makes your defense better when you're able to score. And it makes players play harder on the defensive end when you see the ball go in the basket.
Less than 18 seconds left in this first half. Marshall left alone once again. She's made a house in the paint.
And I think that's one of the things Coach McGuff is going to have to talk about in his press is giving up layups in transition. Marshall connecting on that.
So Juju Watkins sends it up. Rhea Marshall able to knock that one down. Juju Watkins on the other end committed the foul, so she'll head to the bench. 4.5 left in this first half as Celeste Taylor steps to the free throw line.
And if you're Marshall in the back of the press, you have to be disciplined not to come up. You don't ever let a player get behind you unless you know that the steal is 100%. And that's happened quite a bit in this half, that the ball has gotten behind the farthest defender.
Rhea Marshall with another rebound. So if you know what that means, it's a double-double for Rhea Marshall in the first half as they have the 46-28 lead after the first two frames. Time right now, but it's been all USC, 46-28. So Ohio State doing a couple of things or have some adjustments at halftime. Thanks for joining us, Angel Gray, alongside Candace Parker. And we'll start with how dominant they've been able to do things for USC. 18-point lead. We talked about Juju, but Rhea Marshall has been huge.
Rhea Marshall has been huge. I mean, you talk about 12 and 10, a nice little double-double in the first half. But just there's value in just setting screens, rolling, and then in transition right here. I mean, being able to get easy looks because of steals, 4 steals in that first half. Let's show love to the big girl.
And we send it courtside with Taylor Rooks.
Thanks, Angel. You know, Coach McGuff's message was simple. He said, we have to wake up and play better. I said, what else is there to even talk about? He said, give USC credit because we were awful. Said we were jogging. We were not setting good ball screens, had no energy mentally or physically. So what he's looking for in this second half is honestly just more effort from his team. I
think another thing, Taylor, that you mentioned is just the energy, but the togetherness that you want to see right out of the gate. They're delivering.
Yeah, and, you know, if you look at just the paint, which is what you want to win on a nightly basis, USC 26 first half paint points to Ohio State 6. And I don't know if you're going to win many ball games. Ohio State starting off well. Theory, getting it easy, too, to start the game.
Nikolashikova able to come down with the rebound. Has 4 points coming into the second half. 1 for 3 from the field. Cody McMahon has been held up, had a quiet second quarter.
And right there, just even in the second half, you see the intensity at which to pick up Juju in transition. And it wasn't there in that second quarter, especially.
We talked about that effort, but McMahon able to be in the right position to take the charge. Gives USC another opportunity.
And right here, McMahon, I do believe she did a great job taking it. Davis used her off arm a little bit. But in Ohio State's offense in the first half, there was a lot of early turnovers, and I will say there were also a lot of early bad shots, which might as well be turnovers because they lead to transition buckets for USC.
Well, that was a quick turnover at the top of the key for Ohio State. Juju Watkins picking up where she left off.
And right here, Taylor getting the matchup. Juju, with her size and her length, she does a great job getting her spots and rising above Taylor.
Just 4 rebounds away from a double-double for Juju Watkins. Sheldon in and out. As a double dribble is called against Mackenzie Forbes.
Yeah, I think it did hit Juju, so she is allowed to dribble again. And then right here, I mean, this is just getting to your spot on your toes, changing speeds.
Rebecca Mikulashikova, long 2.
For Mikulashikova, the difference between that shot is it's a catch and shoot. Ohio State was taking pull-up, mid-range, and pull-up threes in that second quarter. That's a good look for them.
It was a tough quarter for the Buckeyes in the second, 31-10 that they were outscored.
And Angel, they were 2 of 10 for field goals, so a lot of that came from the free throw line. So they've had success when they get into the paint.
Juju Watkins, have yourself a day.
And if you're Coach McGuff, you're trying to figure out who wants to step up and guard Juju, who wants to take the challenge, because if you leave her open, she's going to knock it down.
McMahon tries to respond, gets a bucket of her own. And so now you mentioned it, the adjustments. Juju Watkins comes in with a hot hand right now, leading all scorers with 21 points.
Well, I don't think if you're Ohio State that you can just guard her one-on-one. You might see trapping, but this is not something that you're going to be able to allow her to do on a consistent basis.
This is like a couple of extra shots before practice type of look.
And right here, if you look at Watkins, the speed at which she plays in, you see her eyes? She's looking at Marshall, which allows Rebecca to stay home and allows her to get the layup. There's picking up from the first half.
We talked to Lindsay Gottlieb about how special Juju Watkins is, and the number one thing that she said was she reps like a pro. Her physicality in the paint as well, and we wanted to see what her game was going to translate like on this level, and she has definitely put on a great debut.
And this is where she's dangerous. Right here in that secondary, in that transition, and Ohio State did an okay job in that first quarter. In the second quarter, they weren't too good at defending her.
Davis outside shot, no good. So Ohio State has some ground to make up as that's completely blocked. Actually, at the top of the key, the official will say that's actually a foul. Infinity Robinson said not too quick.
And J.C. Sheldon getting down in the paint. I think that was a little bit. She got her a little bit on the body, down low. Clean up top, a little body before she went into her shot. But if Ohio State's going to be successful, they're going to have to seek out the paint. I mean, 6 paint points in the first half. You had success from beyond the arc, but Sheldon's going to be the one that's going to have to initiate that getting downhill.
J.C. Sheldon has 9 points, has another one on the way, so now she's in double figures, but we'll send it to Taylor Rooks, who has more on Juju Watkins.
You know, Angela, as you all discuss her physicality, Juju actually said that Hall of Famer and USC legend Tina Thompson has been a valuable mentor of hers. Said the 2 biggest things Tina has preached is to stay focused and to become more of a leader to the team. Keep making her voice present. And Juju said those words lift her up. And of course, it's special hearing that from someone who's actually done it. And I mean, who better to learn from you all?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can speak to how impressive Tina Thompson has been, not just in her WNBA career, but how she continues to impact this next generation of women.
Yeah, Tina Thompson, I was fortunate to be her teammate with the Los Angeles Sparks, and as Rebecca almost gets ones to go, but Tina Thompson, I mean, obviously Houston Comets legend, 4-time champion, USC legend, but the thing about Tina is she played and shot beyond the arc at the 4 position before that was a thing. And she was an LA kid, decided to stay home, decided to say yes to USC, and much like Juju, and I think when Juju said yes to staying at home, you took on that pressure. There's a pressure that that comes along with playing in front of your family and your friends and people that watch you play the game. But if this does translate, she can win a championship for a hometown city. There's nothing like it.
It's been special to watch so far as Nicola Shakova is able to knock down the free throws. Juju Watkins right now has all 7 points for USC in this quarter. A travel is called, so Ohio State will get the ball back.
And Ohio State's showing some life here. Because on the offensive end, they are able to knock down free throws. They're able to set their press and able to get another possession off of a USC turnover.
At the rim, another bump, so more free throws on the way for Ohio State. So Juju Watkins picks up her 3rd personal, but another thing that you mentioned is just how Ohio State is working their way back into this game. Last season had 9 games where they had to come back from down double digits. This is a team that can rally together.
And a team that likes a lot of possessions, they're scary because the game is never out of hand. You look right here, could potentially be a 13-point game. They're able to set their press, and one thing USC struggled with when the game was, you know, in the full court, they generated a lot of turnovers in that first quarter.
Ohio State looking for a stop here. Hands on the back, and if that goes against Celeste Taylor, that will be her 3rd.
And one note, just Juju Watkins going to the bench in foul trouble. Bigby came in that second quarter and kind of changed the game a little bit and knocked down some threes and was able to get to the rim a little bit. So I look for her in this period while Juju's on the bench to do just that.
Taylor Theory, the junior forward out of Cleveland, comes down with the
Lashikova.
I know you were ready for that one, right? She's hunting that shot.
And again, I don't mind that shot. Open, catch and shoot, not off the dribble.
Now 0 for 3 from distance. Has 8 points for the Buckeyes. Mackenzie Forbes takes the screen from Marshall, tries to scoop it under, rims out. Nicola Shakova sends it up. McMahon has a couple of options in the open floor. Calls her own number short on the layup. Sheldon able to get the ball for the putback, and she'll get 2 free throws.
If you're Trojans, you got to come up with that rebound. Ohio State doing a good job of doing what they can, getting the game in transition, getting to the free throw, as they did in that first half. They're getting to the paint, they're hunting the paint, and although USC is winning the paint battle 28-8, Ohio State's winning the free throws. They're 13 for 16, shooting their 17th and 18th free throw right here.
And if you're looking at the free throws by the quarter in this frame, Jason Sheldon has 1 more on the way. They are 7 for 7, now perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line, and USC has yet to shoot a free throw in this frame. And Taylor had more from the women of Troy.
That's right, Angie. You know, Coach Gottlieb is really saying, don't let them get back into this. Our juiciness and our aggression is gone. We don't have to do too much, but we certainly do have to play hard. She said, make them guard you. And Mackenzie Forbes ended the huddle by saying, you all, these last 4 minutes of this quarter is our run. Go make it happen, ladies.
And we'll see if they can get it done, but a good start for Juju Watkins to pick up her 4th personal foul.
And Juju right there, if you're Ohio State, bringing a lot of attention. Nice move by Theory. You see the athleticism right there. Isolation at the high post. Able to get to the bucket, but again, Juju coming off screens, got to be conscious and aware. You draw 2, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, Taylor Theory on the other end. Last year, she led the team in field goal percentage, rebounds, and steals. Really a breakout season as Juju Watkins emphatically taking it to the rim.
And right here, Theory, fake handoff, behind the back. Ooh. Nice little layup. That's where Ohio State has to live. And then on the other end, Ohio State switching to a switching defense. No longer our guards trying to fight through screens. So McMahon drew the matchup of Juju. Juju gets downhill to the right. you know, and that's a big thing with bigs. You got to know your guarding space. You got to know how you can get up in pressure and when you're going to let someone like a Juju Watkins get downhill.
Juju Watkins down with 25 points. She will get subbed out. We mentioned the 4 fouls that she has right now, but she also, with those 2 free throws, not only get the first free throws of the quarter for USC, but also ended that 10-0 run by the Buckeyes.
USC going to a zone right now. A lot of USC players are in foul trouble. Ohio State not shooting the 3 well. This is a good switch up by Coach Golly.
So Collins says, I'm glad McMahon is on my team, and she's a part of the cleanup crew on that one.
Problem is you got a rebound out of the zone. Ohio State taking advantage of that. And right here, USC zone forcing a 3. McMahon getting the rebound. That's the biggest thing and the hardest thing in a zone. You got to box out, and sometimes it's not your matchup. You'll have a guard on a post player in the paint.
And 2 for USC to challenge them to see if they can score out of that zone, because from outside, Ohio State only 5 for 17 from 3, shooting 29%. Short shot clock for Troy. And a really good defensive series for the Buckeyes. They have numbers. Dish pass on the inside, and 1 for J.C. Sheldon.
And that was a prototype rebound outlet ball, barely touched the floor. Post player dropping a dime. Shout out to the post forwards out there. McMahon, Sheldon at the line. Ohio State's got to be happy. Taylor, McMahon, dime, Sheldon, potential 3-point play when we come back.
Fashion, beauty, hairstyles, Skittles.
These targeted ads are getting really creepy.
It's almost like Skittles is listening in on our conversations.
Beauty the rainbow. Taste the rainbow. All right, it's today.
How'd they get in?
All right, boy, here we go.
Nothing brings the pack together like a trip to Great Wolf Lodge.
Home Goods. Go finding. For your most brilliant smile, Crest has you covered.
Nice smile, Brad.
Nice. Thanks.
Crest 3D White. 100% more stain removal. Whiter teeth in 3 days.
Like $1 million.
The #1 teeth whitening brand in America. Crest. And try Crest 3D White Strips Professional Effects. It whitens like a $400 professional treatment.
Right here, Ohio State, a whole new team in this second half. Theory doing a good job starting off third quarter with an early bucket in the paint, and then the ball touches the paint, and then Mia Kulushkova knocks down the outside jump shot, catch and shoot. Then McMahon adding it. When you see the ball go in the basket, the things open up. And then Ohio State's able to set their defense, and then you end up Sheldon at the line for a three-point play with a 7-point game.
And it was very different as far as the points in the paint. We saw Rhea Marshall completely dominant in the first half. She only has picked up one extra rebound in this second half. 28-14 that they had points in the paint advantage, but it is a flip. So the first half we saw from Ohio State, 5 for 15 from three-point land. They've only shot 2 in this half.
And to be honest with you, on the other side, Angel, USC depending heavily on Juju Watkins, who's on the bench with foul trouble right now. She picked up her 4th on an offensive foul. And she was their offense in that second quarter.
Very strict. Actually, a foul is going to be called against Miss Mackenzie Forbes, so more free throws on the way. We're seeing an aggressive look from the Buckeyes in this second half.
And Juju was the only scorer for USC in this half. And so if you're USC, I think if you're Coach Gottlieb, you can't put your star back in with 4 fouls in the third quarter. How do you generate offense? Who do you go to? And I think Bigby was a key. I think Padilla, her dribble penetration, and you got to look to Forbes and Davis, your transfers, to get things going on that end.
And let's be very clear for Ohio State as we're seeing the full court press once again. Getting things onto the free throw line, perfect from the free throw line, just barely beating the half-court violation, but this is a team that has had a lot of experience come back, coming off of an Elite 8 appearance, able to upset UConn and break their Final Four streak, an Elite 8 streak. It had more time in Brazil, and here comes Taylor Theory.
Can we just talk about that athleticism on that play?
Yeah.
So gets the steal and then finishes in transition. It's a 2-point ball game. You're USC, you're just trying to get out of this quarter.
Absolutely. This is the closest it's been since it was 22-20. It was early in the second quarter.
And a lot of it
Celeste Taylor sitting on top of it.
With that aggression right there. You see Ohio State electing to switch to trapping Padilla. She's their main ball handler on the floor. There's got to be an outlet for the Trojans. Flash middle. If you're being trapped, you need to have some sort of outlet either in front of you. Right here you see Theory jumps up and snatches that out of the air. Transition, fake. She's athletic.
She is tough. Strong frame, 6 foot. Guard forward, so versatile. You could see how athletic she is as Celeste Taylor at the free throw line and misses the first free throws for the Buckeyes.
And for those that turned the channel because it was a 20-point game, we
welcome you back to programming.
We welcome you back. It is a 1-possession game.
And then runs right into Forbes. So that's tough because now for Celeste Taylor, she has also 4 fouls.
And I think the biggest thing, you want your team to be aggressive. Coach McGuff, that's what he preaches, but not 90 feet from the basket. You don't want to give USC a chance to set up and get into their press break.
Might have been a little frustration after missing the free throws as well, and just an ill-advised foul there as we're approaching the 1-minute mark here in the third quarter, and it has been completely flipped to the Buckeyes as far as momentum, outscoring USC 25-9 in the third. Another turnover for the Trojans as Sheldon, once again, trying to get them in a good set. Collins going at Padilla. They get the ball back. Can tie with the bucket here or a 3 take the lead. McMahon, that's just stripped right out of her hands on the way up. Just a 3-second difference as who other than J.C. Sheldon and 1 as Rhea Marshall gets the foul there. 21 seconds left in the game. J.C. Sheldon is the impact and the energy they needed in the second half.
And right here, just not having your superstar to settle you down. Marshall electing to make the pass and then doubling up, going for the shot block off the glass. She smacked glass on that. Gets Sheldon with the body afterwards. And you see here, Ohio State, Coach McGuff talked about energy. I don't care about play. I don't care about with shots going in. I want to see energy in life in this third quarter. And Ohio State has done an amazing job coming out and, goodness, taking the lead in this third quarter.
First Buckeye lead was back at 19-17. I think the foul is called against the Buckeyes at the top of the key.
And if you're a Buckeyes fan, you're like, oh my goodness, bad call. If you're USC, you are so grateful to be able to get to the line and get 2 free throws to kind of settle down and settle in.
See at the bottom of your screen just what it was like, the plus minus for both teams. And for basketball, we know it's a game of runs. We've seen both sides, absolutely. But for Ohio State, whatever message that Kevin McGuff gave his team, they have delivered in this third quarter with 10.7 left. And it's just a 1-point ball game after being down as many as 18.
And this is what poise is, right? Basketball teams make runs. Basketball is a game of runs. In fact, Ohio State being on a 12-0 run.
Exactly.
But you got to settle in, and there's a lot of basketball to be played, and momentum is a thing.
And J.C. Sheldon is a thing. The grad player from Dublin, Ohio, her sister. I like what I'm seeing as the Buckeyes have the nice comeback and take the lead going into the fourth quarter. It's been a fun one to kick things off for NCAA basketball here in Las Vegas. All the chips on the table, fourth quarter coming up right after the break.
Taking the hit, finishing, changing speeds. Her finishing around the basket has been unbelievable. 6 for 12. Sister Emma loves it. 20 points, forcing 10 USC turnovers in that quarter alone.
J.C. Sheldon said, I am playing healthy. It's been fun to watch. I know Taylor Rooks has more on Sheldon.
That's right, Angel. You know, after the Buckeyes lost in the tournament, her teammate Ricky Harris looked at J.C. Sheldon and said, I'm coming back, so you have to too. They made a little pact. They were going to keep playing as long as the others want to. And Ricky jokes all the time, she's the reason J.C. came back, and that promise is paying off today.
I see.
I'm telling you, Ohio State has totally turned this game around. And it comes with poise, and it comes with purpose, and it comes with understanding that, basketball is a 40-minute game. And it's not won in the first 20 minutes.
USC outscored the Buckeyes by 21 in the second quarter. The Buckeyes returned the favor in the third, outscored them by 20. And here we go for the final frame as USC on the board.
And Coach Gottlieb elected to go with her superstar, Juju Watkins, early in this quarter, although she has 4 fouls.
So some decisions to make for the Buckeyes as they're seeing the zone from the Trojans. Less than 10 on the shot clock. Sheldon pops up. Marshall comes down with her 13th rebound of the day.
And Ohio State struggled a little bit with that USC zone in that third quarter early. And Coach Gottlieb running that zone to protect Juju from picking up her 5th foul.
Forbes from outside. Marshall. There's the emotion.
And that's where Marshall can be effective, is cleaning up the offensive glass, being active in that area. Because if you're going to designate 2 players to Juju, then you only have 3 blocking out 4.
USC regains the lead. Trying to slow down the Buckeyes offense after that stellar third quarter. Sheldon finds some space, just couldn't knock it down, and Marshall has been cleaning it up in the paint. And just an errant pass at the top of the key for Padilla trying to find Watkins.
And then Marshall making her impact. Forbes missing the 3. Marshall crashing the glass. Because as a big, running full speed at the basket, it's hard for anybody to block you out. That's the hardest player to block out. Is someone that has a full head of steam going towards the basket.
Trying to decide if you really want to put yourself in that position. And Sheldon is just getting everything she wants at the rim. Sheldon with 22 points. Perfect from the free throw line, has the 3 rebounds and 2 assists to add to the stat line. As Mackenzie Forbes takes the bump in the end one.
Forbes and Marshall running a little 2-man game on the backside. We got Sheldon right here getting to the bucket, and then Forbes right here taking advantage. McMahon downhill, finishing through contact. USC's got to do a better job of attacking the basket and getting to the free throw line. Only 12 free throws tonight.
Cody McMahon has 3 personals now. But for Mackenzie Forbes, just trusting Lindsey Gottlieb. Played for Lindsey Gottlieb at Cal as a freshman. Spent time at Harvard. Now back with Lindsey Gottlieb, understanding the process and what she can do and how she builds programs. Sheldon got the rebound. What else can you say about JC?
And Sheldon giving up 3, 4, 5 inches down there, gets position and is really single-handedly willing her team to be in this game.
And doesn't look like she ever gets tired is Forbes. That's a money ball.
And the thing we found out in that first quarter is 3 is more than 2. So if USC can find a way to knock it down from beyond the arc, they're going to put themselves in a good position.
The double team for a brief stint against McMahon. And another deflection. Padilla got through a deflection there. Juju Watkins at the rim! Adds on to the stellar performance and debut for the #1 overall recruit coming in to college basketball, and what a debut.
And here, you know she's not going to take long to make an impact. But her team plays different with her on the floor. You see that confidence. Her gauging, finishing through contact. She showed a little bit of everything tonight. She's gotten to the free throw line. She's finished through contact. She's hit her mid-range, and she's knocked down 3s.
Doesn't look phased. Taylor Roach talked about it earlier, how just the balance of life and basketball and understanding, you know, what has put her in this position. She loves this game. She said, I'm used to it all, and we can see her taking the floor right now. I mean, you talked about all the boxes she's checking right now. That's more like a Christmas list.
And Angel, her baby hair is on. I gotta acknowledge this right here. I know they have not gotten out of place with everything that she's 28 points and not a baby hair out of place.
Is that from the Candace Parker line?
Listen, this is gonna be the first signing.
And with the NIL deals that she has, I'm pretty sure she'll gladly take that. 7-point lead for the Trojans. And an errant pass. And we talked about the decisions you have to make in this zone and what that looks like for the Buckeyes.
Coming out of a timeout, Coach McGuff has got to be a little disappointed with the turnover. But also, I question, did Ohio State dig themselves too great of a hole where it took too much energy to come back? Do they have enough to finish?
Well, they will definitely have to dig deep, as this one is just in the 4th quarter, approaching the 6-minute mark. USC only had 10 points in the 3rd already with 13. A couple of players playing with a little bit of foul trouble. Celeste Taylor with 4, as well as Juju Watkins. So the Stars having to play a little bit more safe, as another block by Rhea Marshall. Now 52 straight games with the block.
And just as I question where Sheldon, Coach McGuff gives her the nod to go to the scores table to check back in.
Juju with the drag up top. Finds his way around the perimeter, and the outside shot. No good for the Trojans, as we're approaching the halfway point of the 4th quarter. Nikolashikova, we talked about how she can extend the floor. It's been quiet in this quarter, but Theory has been everything but that.
And Theory showed a lot of athleticism in the second half, playing poise. Way more poise than she played in the first half, and sometimes that's just settling into the game.
Juju Watkins, Euro step going, and Kulasakova. Look at the face, though. She can't be guarded.
And family front row, it seems. Just Trojan family. I don't know if it's actual family hyping Juju up. Right here with the step through, finish, and one. Her ability to move her body, attack in different ways, and she's not going full 100%. She's changing speeds, which as a post player, that's really hard to guard.
Candace, I'm wondering, just you being a highly touted player coming out of high school, did you have a 30 burger on your debut?
No, I cannot say I had a 30 burger on my debut. Listen, the poise that Juju's playing with, the expectations that she had coming in this game to be able to perform at this level against a nationally ranked team,
yes,
just speaks volumes to her preparation and the amount of reps that she puts in.
Collins working the baseline. I'm not sure if Marshall got a piece of that. She's able to collect. Gets 2 off the board. Many bodies going at Juju Watkins now as they're able to get it over half court. As USC looking to slow things down.
And Ohio State trying to speed things up because Ohio State's seeing it's a 5-point game, just under 4 minutes left in this game. They've got to get more possessions. And what USC wants is less possessions. And what you don't want if you're the Buckeyes is for the clock to stop and USC to be at the line shooting 2.
Knocks down the first. Trojans only shot 4 free throws in the third quarter, so this was something that was completely different that we were seeing from the Buckeyes that had their foot on the gas in that third quarter. Theory flies in for the rebound. And Celeste Taylor will take a moment to slow things down, sitting at 7 points. It's been a rough shooting night for Celeste Taylor.
And what this zone does is it slows Ohio State down. And it makes players that aren't the playmakers or the primary playmakers have the ball in their hands. And I think USC is willing to live with that.
Juju Watkins gives her team the signal to slow things down as we're approaching the 3-minute mark.
Taylor losing a shoe, throwing it at USC's bench.
Five on the shot clock, the dish on the inside. Marshall, textbook, put it on the highlight tape.
And that's unbelievable. Juju playing under control, drawing the entire USC, and then dishing it off to her teammate Marshall.
Marshall has 18 points and 16 rebounds. So what a duo we have seen as Marshall came down a bit too strong on that one and picks up a foul. That'll be her third.
And then Juju understands that she's going to have a lot of attention. 3 Buckeyes jerseys. Marshall ready with her hands up. And hey, if you're a big playing with Juju, you gotta love this. You could get 10 to 12 points on a nightly basis just off of being ready for dish-offs. Juju has 5 assists, 30 points, 6 rebounds. She's had herself a night. Or a day, I got ahead of myself.
I know, it's like, wait a minute, where are we? It's been an early start for the kickoff for the season for college basketball as we had a game that started off, historic game between Notre Dame and South Carolina for Neil Ivey and Don Staley. Started things off in Paris.
And I heard that it was a highlight reel in Paris. That's what I heard.
Non-stop, oui.
I heard it was a highlight reel.
Four on the shot clock. Juju Watkins, no. But Caitlin Davis, yes. So USC, who was challenged coming out of halftime, responding well here in the fourth.
And right here, Juju getting the pull-up to Ohio State, not boxing out Marshall or Davis. Davis getting the putback, and that's where you can be successful. You have a player that's going to draw 2 every night. Go to the offensive boards.
Player that came over from Columbia, actually, Coach Gottlieb, as Sheldon works her way to the rim, gets 2.
Sheldon's doing everything she can to keep the Buckeyes in this ballgame.
3 Ivy players coming over for Coach Gottlieb. Kinsey Forrest from Cal and Caleb Padilla from Penn. And a little too handsy up top. Shots from here are in the bonus, but Sheldon is doing everything in her power. May have taken a bump too. Wanted the foul there.
And Marshall is no slouch as a shot blocker, breaking Lisa Leslie's, or tying Lisa Leslie's shot blocking record last year at 98. So Sheldon showing some skills here. Padilla at the line, looking to put USC up by 8.
86% free throw shooter coming into the season, knocks it down. As there's a timeout that is going to be called as we have about 93 seconds left in this ball game. Kevin McGuff with the timeout. Let's see what they got in there for the season for the first time since 2011. Bringing in Juju Watkins, and so many great things that you can see from that, and Raya Marshall saying, we are hungry for more.
And these are 2 programs that within the last 10, 15 years have been looking to get back into the spotlight, looking to get back into prominence. USC, long time. Ohio State having one of the best seasons that they've had in 30 years last year. And I think that this is a stage that really gauges where these 2 teams are. I mean, you can't hang your hat on this game, but it definitely tells you your strengths and weaknesses playing each other at this point of the season.
And getting very familiar with one another, because we'll see both teams in the Big Ten. That's been a shakeup that we've seen throughout the Pac-12. Seeing all the movement. UCLA also will be joining the Big Ten as well. I think for Lindsey Gottlieb telling us USC in this year is a sleeping giant, as Sheldon, just a miscommunication with Theory on that back door.
And Angel, if you're a coach, that's back-to-back turnovers out of timeouts. And that's something that as an experienced team you don't want to have and you can't have if you want to be successful, especially and go deep in the tournament.
Full court pressure. Celeste Taylor forced the turnover. Sheldon streaks in, gets this bucket.
And you got to be careful if you're USC. This is a 2-possession game.
1 minute remaining and a timeout will be called for the Trojans. You can never count the Buckeyes out.
Well, especially with J.C. Sheldon, the intensity and the heart and the way she plays on the other side of the ball, she never stops. And that's what's allowed Ohio State to get back in this game, is because of her leadership, her tenacity, and her ability to cause havoc on the other end of the floor, on the defensive end.
Well, we talked about some of that conference realignment. And I don't know if you have a shuffleboard at home, but this is a little bit of what it looks like. This is where it stood, and you got 4 teams coming into the Big 12, Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, Yale. Oh, and then another switch, Oregon, UCLA, USC, Washington saying, hey, we want to be a part of the Big 10. Cal, Stanford, and SMU in the ACC. Oklahoma and Texas in the SEC. I don't even know where to begin. We're going to have to throw all of our notes out from years past and just get accustomed to seeing new teams on different sides of the country competing against one another.
Well, Angel, was that 2 teams left in the Pac-12?
That's it. They got some decisions to make, Candace.
Goodness. But what I can say is I look forward to seeing the battles between Ohio State and USC. I grew up a Big Ten fan. Both my parents went to Iowa. And I just think the brand of basketball is going to forever change, especially with the additions of USC and UCLA. It's a different style than Big Ten basketball, and so it's going to be interesting to see how all those teams evolve.
They had 7 teams that went on to dance last year from the Big Ten, and it only gets deeper, so that's going to be crazy to see. Held up on the sideline, a timeout had to be called as Raya Marshall was looking for some type of relief. So USC calls a timeout. They'll have 1 left. Ohio State is left with 0. timeouts.
And it looked like Rhea Marshall thought she was trying to foul. And if you're a good team, good defensive and disciplined team and veteran team, Coach McGuff probably told them, hey, let's get a good solid first trap, wait a little bit, and then foul if we need to. So right here, Ohio State electing to trap and play without fouling. Might have got away a little bit with a little bump on the arm theory. But Coach Gottlieb trying to call a timeout early because her team looked like they were in trouble and about to turn it over. If you're USC, Juju Watkins has to have the ball in her hands. You have to screen for her. You want her with the ball in her hands, whether Ohio State's going to foul or whether Ohio State's...
And Padilla was tiptoeing that.
Very close. Twinkle toes.
I mean, Simone Biles tiptoes.
I like that Simone Biles right here. Look at those Kobe's almost touching the mid-court line. I don't know if that's how Coach Gottlieb drew it up, but Padilla's at the line.
And Celeste Taylor is fouled out. So one of the primary defenders for the Buckeyes will have to take a seat. Celeste Taylor, 7 points for her debut with the Buckeyes as Padilla drains it from the free throw line.
The biggest thing is Ohio State doesn't have any timeouts left. So if they do get a good possession here, they're going to have to go the length of the floor to get a three.
Nice look for Sheldon at the top of the key, but Marshall able to grab that one down. Less than 40 seconds to go in this ball game. McMahon actually going for the steal, and we haven't seen a foul yet until that one at the top of the key.
And big picture, Angel, a lot of anticipation, a lot of hype coming into this NCAA women's basketball season, building off of last year. But let's be honest, these teams have a long way to go before they're going to be ready for the NCAA tournament. And rightfully so. You have time to practice, get acclimated with one another, figure out what you need to fix. But I really respect players and coaches and teams that want to play the best. And so kudos to these 4 teams for coming out and playing ranked teams to start the season.
Well, how about the next game that we have later on at 4:30 Pacific time between Colorado
some team
and LSU, I think.
LSU, is it? I don't know.
Yeah. They're on the docket.
Oh, the #1 team in the country, yes,
the
LSU.
reigning champs. Oh, got it, as Ricky Harris was fouled.
And I think this year it's so exciting because there's so much parity in women's basketball. In years past, you knew exactly who was going to win the championship. Fouling Harris on the 3. But this year, there's questions. There's question marks. Things could go different ways. Talented players, because of the portal, because of national high school players electing to go other places. There's parity in women's basketball, and I'm excited to watch, to see which teams end up battling for it at the end.
Our way too early team that you're most I won't say impressed with. It's a season that is literally on day 1, but that you're anticipating to see everything come together.
Well, I just think the pure size and athleticism and talent that LSU has at every single position, it was eye-opening to watch yesterday at practice. I also think that USC surprised a lot of people today.
Absolutely.
I don't think that USC was... Many people thought that they would get out to as big a lead as they did against Ohio State, be able to hold on to this game with their star player in Juju Watkins picking up 4 fouls. They showed a lot of poise, and I think Coach G has to be excited with the way that her team responded and held the lead.
Her team can finish shooting 50% from the floor. Last year, they were at the bottom 100 nationally, shooting 38% from the field. So adjustments of being more balanced. We've seen it. We were witnesses today as this one has the final ticks off the clock. Juju Watkins with the rock as it's 5 seconds. Oh, she said, I need another bucket on the box score, though.
And USC's in for a treat with Gigi Watkins' career. She is a joy to watch.
Picks up her first win as a collegiate superstar and has been absolutely worth the price of admission coming in. And I mean, you can see on the side there too just how much love she's getting. Aaliyah Gales, who wasn't able to check in for this game, also from Las Vegas, with an incredible story of finding her way back to the basketball floor. I mean, so many great things for USC throughout this season.